All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started here in just a moment once we get Commissioner Aresco connected. Bear with us just for a few minutes and we'll be underway shortly. Thanks.
Championship game. And obviously we have two of the best coaches in the country, obviously Luke Fickell of Cincinnati and Dana Holgerson of Houston. Obviously it's going to be a great game. Our championship game is one of 6. It's going to feature 2 ranked teams, and we all know what the other 5 are. But this, I think, cements our position as a power conference. The 2 teams in our championship are a combined 23-1 this year. And that's very, very impressive, obviously. The only championship game with a similar combined record is the SEC championship game. We're very proud, very, very proud to have our championship game on ABC for the 7th year in a row. I really applaud, ESPN and ABC for giving us this tremendous platform year after year. And I think we've justified it with tremendous games that have national significance. And it's our championship game has been one of the most exciting of the year. Year after year, it's extremely competitive. This year, the stakes are the highest they've ever been. Obviously, the environment in Cincinnati should be electric. Sold out stadium, the energy will just be through the roof. And again, before I take questions, I want to thank Scott Draper for all he's done. He's our associate commissioner, senior associate commissioner for football, does an outstanding job all year. And I want to acknowledge Ryan Kelly. He's our director of football operations. He's going to be moving to another position following the championship game, but he has done an outstanding job managing the day-to-day logistics of our football operation. And Scott and I will miss him greatly, but I want to congratulate him as well. So again, Chuck, I don't know whether you had planned for me to take some questions, but be happy to do that if in fact that's the plan.
Sure. Yeah, we'll take a couple of quick questions for Commissioner. We can start with Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, please.
Hey.
And hey, Mike.
Hello, Dennis. How are you?
Yeah, congratulations on this.
Thank you.
Big picture question, not just because of your conference, but why doesn't college football embrace Cinderellas like Cincinnati, but Boise and in schools throughout the years?
Dennis, that's the $64 question. I don't know. Maybe college football, in the larger sense, does, because the fans seem to. When Cincinnati, plays are terrific, and they were in the, our Peach Bowl last year was it was the highest rated game outside the semifinals. In terms of how maybe how the committee views our leagues, I think, you have to earn that respect, of course. And I think there's a feeling somehow, as I've said, that somehow we don't play at a particular level. I've never bought that, and our top teams have proven it year after year in the big games that that's just not the case. In terms of the Cinderella, it's tougher in football, clearly. Why you don't have some of those stories that you have in basketball with Butler and others. It would seem to me it'd be pretty exciting to have a team like Cincinnati, for example, if they were in the championship, but I don't root. I mean, Houston's a terrific team. I mean, Houston's playing obviously for a New Year's Day slot in this game, and Cincinnati obviously playing for a chance to play for the national championship. So I can't answer that. I don't know. I wish that, frankly, there would be more of an embrace of them, because I think they add a lot to college football. You know, the sports, last thing I'll say is the sports changed so much in the past 30 or 40 years. You really do see teams. I mean, you see UTSA come out of nowhere this year. You saw Coastal Carolina come out of nowhere last year. You know, the talent is more dispersed. There's, you know, coaches, everybody, there's a high level everywhere you look. And I think, you know, these schools can compete now in football. One basketball coach once said, you know, with a couple of good guards, I can get to the Final Four, but football's a corporation. You know, it really is. It's a hard thing. And when you do it, it's even more remarkable. And so I salute all the teams, especially, yeah, you know, Dennis, we hate the label G5. We hate that. We hope it goes. But in the end, I salute everybody who plays this game at a high level under against terrific obstacles. And I would hope fans and I hope the committee and everybody embraces that. But it's a great question.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take the next one from Andrea Adelson, please, with ESPN.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
Good to see you. Quick question, and I know it's a hypothetical, so hopefully you'll still want to answer, but with where Cincinnati is positioned right now in the playoff rankings, if they were to win on Saturday, do you feel confident that the committee will keep them in the top 4?
I would hope so. You know, you never know. And Dana and Houston will have a lot to say about that, obviously. But if they do win, I would hope that they, you know, stay. They would have earned it, you know, undefeated. When you look at their overall resume, and boy, that win at Notre Dame just looks more and more impressive, as well as some of the other things they've done. You know, I knew they would have a tough game with East Carolina on, you know, on Friday. The adrenaline rush, enormous at the beginning. They withstood that, and they dominated that game, and they showed why they're so good. And the great thing about Cincinnati is they play at elite defense, and they have elite secondary. You know, and not many teams have that. They'll be a great, you know, representative if they get there. But again, Houston will have a lot to say about that. That's going to be a great game on Saturday. But yes, obviously, I don't want to talk about confident or not confident, you know, and I have been, you know, laying pretty low lately. I didn't want to say much. You know, we just have to let this thing play out. But certainly, if they win, I would hope that there's no way they would be dropped. Thanks,
Mike.
Okay, we'll take 2 more. We'll go to Brian Smith from the Houston Chronicle, please.
I don't know if irony is the right word, but considering everything that happened with UH and Cincinnati and, you know, joining the Big 12, being set to join the Big 12, and Cincinnati being so great this year. I mean, a top 4 team, a top 3 team, UH only having 1 loss. How do you process that, knowing what's coming, what's happened, but the fact that, you know, Cincinnati is this good, Houston is this good, and they are part of the AAC still, and this is also proof of how strong your conference has been and can be at football and obviously basketball.
You know, Brian, that's again another great question. The truth is the conference has been strong. You know, we wrote the 8-page letter saying we should be in the P5, you know, the P6. I think had we been, realignment might have taken a different turn. You never know. But, you know, I've said it from the beginning, you can't take it personally. You know, you understand why teams do certain things, why they look for potentially what they think are greener pastures. And so we've just embraced the fact that they're doing all this in our conference. You know, we're very proud of Cincinnati. We're very proud of Houston. The one thing I will say, you know, we hate to lose them down the road, and we're not sure when that will be. But this is a celebration of what this conference has accomplished over 9 years. And what it says is the schools we're bringing in who have tremendous, you know, many of them tremendous football pedigree. I mean, look at what UTSA did this year. Look at what North Texas just did. Look at what UAB has done. Look what FAU has done. Others, you know, Rice is investing. You know, Charlotte investing heavily. You know, these are programs that really we think can be, you know, flagship for us. Don't underestimate us down the road. You know, look what we did. You know, when we took over, you know, nobody was really doing all that great, right? Whether it was Houston or Cincinnati, whether it was UCF. Well, UCF had a great first year, which really buoyed our conference enormously. But, you know, this conference, they did a lot for us, but we did a lot for them. I think our football people were intelligent about the way we handled our TV and our scheduling. ESPN's been great to us. Their exposure was huge, and it's going to be huge for the teams coming in. But all I can say is that I just feel great about the fact that Cincinnati and Houston, with two great coaches, have achieved what they've achieved. I think it's wonderful. And, it's a legacy. Whatever happens down the road, they will have achieved this in our conference. And I think, Luke has said great things about the competition here. He sent me a lovely note when all this realignment happened. Dana, the same. Dana has talked about how good the conference is. And so consequently, things change. You just can't take it personally. And I don't. And I don't think anyone in our conference has. We're just very proud that it's happening. And down the road, we'll rebuild in the same way we did before. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, you can take one final question from Andrea Adelson, please.
Hey, Andrea.
Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand again,
Oh, all right.
but I'll see you on Saturday.
I was ready, Andrea, for another one.
All right. With that, thank you. Thanks, Mike, for your time, and we'll check back with you again on. We'll see you on Friday in Cincinnati.
Right, and good luck to the coaches today. Again, tremendous opportunity and tremendous achievements all year. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Okay, we'll move on now to the University of Houston. We're joined by head coach Dana Holgerson. The Cougars went 11-1 in the regular season and have won their last 11 games entering postseason play. Coach, thank you for joining us this morning. Congratulations on reaching the championship game. Can we get your thoughts on the season to date and the upcoming matchup with Cincinnati, please? Oh, Coach, I think you just need to unmute you if we can.
Yeah, that usually somebody does that for me. Sorry, I don't usually know how this stuff works, but I want to thank the American Conference, and Mr. Aresco there for his leadership. This is it's a great time to be a part of the University of Houston athletic department in general and football program. We're honored to be able to compete against such a great Cincinnati football team. What they've accomplished here in Coach Fickell's 5 years is pretty awesome, pretty special. Got that thing turned around real quick and have been a national power for the last 4 years. So just an honor to be able to compete with those guys. I wished, I'm not going to lie, I wish this was at a neutral site. They're pretty good at home. Haven't lost there in a while, but it's a big challenge. Outstanding football team, well coached. They have great senior leadership. I think they've rolled 30 plus seniors through senior day the other day. So they're good at home. It's going to be a big challenge. I mean, they're deserving of where they're currently ranked in the CFP. Probably ought to be ranked higher, in my opinion, based on what they've done here over the last couple of years and the quality of football that they've played. So once again, I'm very proud of our football team. We've come a long ways here in 11 months. I would argue we've come a long ways in the last 3 years. To the point to where we've checked off one of our goals, which is to get into this conference championship game, and we will compete hard to try to win this conference championship game.
Okay, we'll start with questions, please. We'll start with Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, please.
Hey, Dana, congratulations. You've got extensive experience in the Group of Five and the Power Five. What is the difference, and why doesn't this game as a whole really embrace those Group of Five teams that achieve highly, like you guys have under you and Tom Herman and under at Cincinnati right now?
Well, I just think there's a pretty big division in the perception of what Power Five and Group of Five is. I was very vocal when I took the University of Houston job. My respect for the American Conference was incredibly high, and after being in this league, it remains high. There's a difference in funding. There's a difference in national coverage. There's a difference in what the CFP views as good football and not good football. I don't know how to change that. We worry about what we can control, which is line up and play to the best of our ability, to be able to recruit to the best of our ability. I just know that, I mean, I know last year, or my first year here in 2019, my first year in the American after spending, the previous 8 years in the Big 12, we played more ranked teams on that schedule than I did at any other year. I think there were 6 ranked American Conference football teams at that point. So what's the difference in my world? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. The quality of football is really good. I think the biggest difference is what the perception is with media and with the current college football playoff model.
Isn't it ironic, like in 2 years or so, you in Cincinnati are going to be anointed, Power 5 from everything we hear. That's going to change just with changing conferences.
Yeah, I don't have timelines, Dennis. If you got
Right.
if you have some
don't.
information I don't have, then
2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I tell you, I made a vow to our football team. We're not going to talk about that. We haven't discussed that one bit. I mean, I've been through this before. Remember back 2011, West Virginia was Big East and we played Cincinnati and was lucky to get out of Cincinnati with the win on the last second blocked field goal. Cincinnati was incredibly good at that point. Butch Jones was their coach at that point, had great coaches for the last 20 years. And so but I was a part of that last Big East group. We won the Big East that year. It was good football. We had to win at South Florida. We had to win at Cincy. We had to beat Pitt at home to get to a BCS game, which we accomplished that and won the Big East. But, we transitioned into the Big 12 the next year. And it was a tough transition, but that's all recent history. But, there's going to be some things that we need to do here from an administrative perspective I've been through that and I know how to do that, but I made a vow to our football team that we're not going to talk about that. This is the 2021 University of Houston football team that is in the American Conference, and we're going to try to win every game. And we've done a good job up until this point to where we can get to a point where we're playing this game here this weekend.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you, bud.
Yep.
We'll go next to Joseph Duarte from Houston Chronicle, please.
Dana, do you expect to have Donovan Newton cleared this week, or is there anything update on where he would stand for the game?
Yeah, he's good to go. I don't think there's anything in the world that would keep him out of this game. So, we'll see how things go with practice and everything. I mean, that's like it is every week. I mean, I said this after the game, we'll be 100% healthy. And I truly believe that we'll be 100% healthy.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me see if I'm.
Gotcha.
We'll take the next one from Mark Berman, please. Mark, go ahead.
Dana, you touched on it before. You touched on it just a second ago. How tough is it have to play a game like this with so much riding on it at their place?
Oh, it's no different than any other game that you got to play on the road. We've been pretty good on the road. This year, we got an older team, veteran team that knows how to travel. We got to do things a little bit different with how we travel based on this being postseason, but it's a great opportunity. We're really looking forward to being able to compete with such a great team at their place. The other 5 leagues, they all have neutral sites. I mean, I wished it was a neutral site. If that game was played here in Houston, I think they would say the same thing. You'd rather a neutral site as opposed to going and being the visiting team, especially when both teams are 8-0. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's the cards that we're dealt. We're good with that. We have our plan with what the schedule is this week. Our players are familiar with Cincinnati. They know how challenging it is there. They know how good they are there, but guess what? They're pretty good on the road too, right? So by the time you line up and you play, I don't know, just we can embrace that. We can go. I think our older team will be able to handle that just fine.
We'll take the next question from Sam Kahn from The Athletic, please. Sam, go ahead.
We'll be coming in about 2 minutes.
I'll turn it off.
Hey, Dana. I wanted to ask you a little bit big picture about how you built this roster. I know when you first got here, obviously you took a little bit of unconventional strategy in your first year, and there was some criticism of it. I'm curious, as you've seen the roster develop now, do you feel validated in kind of the methods that you took?
Yeah, we had a plan coming in. I knew what some of the challenges were when I took over this program. When you're staring at a roster of 25 seniors and about 10 of them were going to graduate once their eligibility was exhausted, that's a problem. So it's just part of the big picture, whether guys redshirt, whether they don't redshirt. The goal is to exhaust eligibility with a degree. That's kind of the main point with why we do a lot of what we do. If so much is made of the fact that it's about winning games and getting kids in the NFL, whatever all that stuff is, selling tickets. One of the reasons I got into this is to help mold young men, and part of that is getting their degree and figuring out what they want to do for the rest of their life. So we've made some strides with that. Our graduation is healthy, our academics are improving every day. And we got an older football team. COVID kind of helped that too. I don't know if we're as old as Cincinnati is. They're really experienced and really old, and I think Coach Fickell's done a great job of building a program to the point to where they got old guys with a lot of experience, and I would assume they're all with 1 or 2 degrees at this point as well. So, we accomplished what we wanted to. Degrees are important, and being old is the only way you can win in college football.
Okay, we'll take 2 more. We'll go to James Muller from the Daily Cougar, please.
Yeah, Dana, a couple of weeks ago, you talked about before the Memphis game, how you were emphasizing to your team how it was the first time or a good opportunity for the team to go, be the second team in program history to go undefeated in conference play. And then after UConn, your players were mentioning how, they're reminded of that 2015 American title banner every day. Have you taken that similar approach, reminding them how unique this opportunity is and just, a chance to, submit this legacy even further for this 2021 team?
Yeah, part of coaching is finding ways to motivate. That's kind of part of the weekly deal. It's tough. We're excited about it, but it's tough to know you're in the game and you still got it. I mean, that's our goal is to play in the conference championship game. If you ask every one of the coaches at the beginning of the season, what's one of your main goals? Well, it's to win a conference championship, right? So you can't win that unless you're in the game. So you find small little motivational things to get your team excited about playing the next game, right? So we're already in the game. So regardless of what happened against Memphis or UConn, we're still in this game, right? That makes it hard from a motivational perspective. So finding ways to motivate them, like, yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty awesome to be 8-0, and to have a chance to host the game. It'd be pretty awesome to finish 11-1 and be in the same conversation as the 1973 and 1979 Houston teams that were 11-1. Continue to be down, a chance to play in our 13th game and then our 14th game, the 2011 and 2015 teams, the 11 lost the conference championship but finished 13-1. And then the 2015 team in the American Conference won that thing and finished 13-1. So that's kind of the standard with what we want to be able to accomplish, and that's what our goals are going to be moving forward as well.
We'll take the final question from Greg Bailey from ABC 13 in Houston, please. Greg, go ahead.
Dana, you talked to us many times about the way you have built this roster with a physical style of play. How important has that been to this season? And how important will that be Saturday for you guys to match Cincinnati with their own physical style of play?
Yeah, you can't be in this game without it being physical. You can't play week in and week out, without being physical. I mean, O-line and D-line is where it's at. We pride ourselves in that. It's how we practice. It's how we recruit. It's how we practice. The weight room is important to that. Obviously Cincinnati, that's what they're known for, man. I mean, it's, Coach Fickell's done a great job of bringing that Midwest Big Ten football type style of play to Cincinnati, and they can line up and go toe to toe with anybody like they've proven over the last 3 and 4 years. So it's a big emphasis. It's how you need to play the game, regardless of where you're at. It's how you need to play the game, and I think our guys understand that, and looking forward to the challenge here on Saturday.
Coach, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes this morning. Safe travels to Cincinnati. We look forward to seeing you up there.
Okay, thank you all. Go Cougs.
All right. That was Coach Dana Holgerson from Houston. We will make the transition here to Coach Fickell from Cincinnati in just a moment. Okay, now we'd like to turn it over to the University of Cincinnati and head coach Luke Fickell. The Bearcats went 12-0 in the regular season, are playing in the American Championship game for the 3rd consecutive season. Coach Fickell, thanks for joining us this morning. Congratulations on reaching the championship game. Can we get your thoughts, please, on your season to date and the upcoming matchup with Houston?
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. Obviously, we are really excited. We appreciate, I've obviously earned this opportunity, but really excited about playing in the championship game. I don't over worry about all the other things. We've had one goal and one objective when we walked in the door here 5 years ago, and it hasn't changed. And it's always been to play for championships. And we have that opportunity this year, and that's what really matters to us. No matter what, obviously we've had a good season and found ways to win football games. But it's never been about anything other than playing for a championship. And we're really excited to be playing, obviously, in the championship game. To have it at home is another step, and excited about that. About our seniors having another chance to play a home game in Nippert Stadium, and we're going to continue to roll.
Okay, we'll start with questions for Coach Fickell, please. We'll start with Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, please.
Hey, Luke, congratulations.
Thanks, Dennis.
You bet. You come from your alma mater is a top 5, top 10 football program where if you do X every year, you're going to be playing for something. Do you ever get weary of going through this process, having to explain and answer questions about why you should belong, especially every Tuesday night?
If you haven't watched or seen, I usually don't answer any of those questions. And I think that from the outside looking in, we all know, no matter who it is, Coach Holgorsen, myself, the ultimate goal is everybody knows in college football, but inside your program and as a coach, we've had a goal and an objective, and it's to play for a championship. And, I don't care where you are. I think, you're crazy if you don't, try to focus yourself on playing for championships. And then the other things that come along with it, I'm not saying we don't all want it, but it's for the outside people to really kind of stir up and be excited about. And, but from within, for me, I have not answered any of those questions. Don't know that I would, regardless of how things went. They wanted to ask you about that last year and continued to avoid it because we all have our opinions. But I think that, for your program, for your kids, for everybody involved that are within this program, playing for a championship is what is first and foremost. And, I'm not sure that's what everybody outside wants to talk about. The game of college football and the entertainment side of it that I had the first opportunity probably to see this past weekend, might tell you a little bit different, but that's not going to be that way for us.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Andrea Ailson, ESPN, please.
Hey, Luke, I'm going to try in a different way to ask you something similar, but Cincinnati is on the verge of something fairly historic. And I know you don't want to talk about that, but considering all that's been made about top 4 and where the program is positioned right now, how do you try and keep all of that away from your players if that's what the goal and intent is inside there, for them not to hear everything that's being talked about with the playoff?
Well, we've changed up. We've locked everybody within our facility. We're not letting them go home. We're not letting them go out. We've shut off all internet access. TVs don't work. Kind of create our own little bubble here so that nobody can leave. No, we all understand. I think you said historic. I don't know the history of the AAC. Maybe somebody else has been in the championship game 3 years in a row. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, but that's what we look at. Obviously, the league is a little bit younger than a lot of other leagues, and I'm sure there's a lot of other teams that have played in their championship game 3 years in a row. But for us, that's hopefully what I continue to preach. Hopefully what our guys continue to recognize and observe. But we're also not ignorant to think that, they're going to be like me and bury their head in the sand and not listen or talk to or communicate with anybody outside of, where it is that you spend 90% of your time. So we talked about, hey, understand, we want to enjoy what it is that this team, these seniors in particular, have created, this buzz, meaning on our campus, in our stadium, but we can't allow it to change us. And I'm not saying it's easy. We all understand that, everything is readily at these guys' fingers. There's nothing that is missed. It's not like, however many years ago we said, I missed that on Sports Center. I missed that on the news. No, I mean, it's replayed every 10 minutes if you'd like it to. But the challenge is to each and every individual is find ways to eliminate the noise and make sure you know what it is that you got to be able to do.
We'll take the next question from Chris Vanini with The Athletic, please.
Yeah, Luke, what do you make of Houston's defense, especially that defensive line and the challenge they present?
I've watched them all year. I think they do a phenomenal job. They are very, very, very aggressive, and they play really hard. I've loved watching them all year. I think that it's going to be a real challenge for us. We've got our work cut out. Those guys up front. Like I said, I think I don't know stats. I don't look at stats. I don't know where they rank and things like that. I just know what it is I see on film. And those guys are very aggressive. Have done a phenomenal job all year and pose a lot of problems for us. So, that's why anybody else that wants to talk about the other thing, I mean, there's a lot of issues that we've got that are facing us this week. And if I was to say, that would definitely be probably A1 for us and what we're doing.
We'll take the next question from Bill Dennison from WLW Radio, please.
Hey, Coach, I just on that same note, how about Houston's offense? What kind of problems do they pose for you?
Well, I think Coach Holgorsen does a great job. I think you're going to see from game to game that he has the ability to adjust some things. And with a quarterback like Toon, that's a senior that's played a lot of football, his ability to change things up week in and week out makes it really difficult on defenses to game plan. Now they have the specific things that they do, and that everything runs through the quarterback. But I think, it's hard to remember exactly. We played them the last few years. So I only watched what I've watched this year, trying to keep a little bit of, what's happened the last couple of years. But I think the balance to how they run the football, their ability, obviously, with the quarterback to throw it anywhere, meaning he can make all throws, I think what I feel like is makes it difficult to game plan for them. And then the quarterback Toon's ability to extend plays. I think he really does a good job. I don't know that anybody would say, he's, going to be a running quarterback, but he is a very willing and able quarterback that will run the football, run some Q counters, and really makes you play honest in everything that you do.
We'll take the next question from Jason Stam, please, from BearcatReport.com.
Hey, Coach, just with such a veteran team like you have this year, going into a game like this, a championship on the line, do you do anything differently? Do you rely more on that senior, veteran leadership, or let them kind of do anything? Or does anything really change just with having such a veteran group?
I mean, this will be game 13, and from game 1 to game 12, we've relied upon our seniors. I think that's what we have always kind of done here. Each and every year, we're very fortunate to have a group of them that have obviously been through a lot and have done a phenomenal job at not just leading, but being an example of what we try to say humble and hungry really looks like. So I don't know that it's anything different. We all know what's at stake, you know, a championship. And that's been the only thing that we've talked about from the time we started camp. So, you know, is there anything different? No, we've put a lot of pressure, hung a lot of things on this senior group from the time we started in week 1 with the rivalry game against Miami as we go into week 13 in a championship week. So we know we go as those guys go, and they have guided us this whole way, and we're going to continue to ride them.
We'll take the next one from Chad Brindell, please, 24/7 Sports.
Coach, talking about this veteran group that you have, how important was it for them to get one last opportunity to play in Nippert Stadium?
Well, I mean, that's something that they pride themselves on. Obviously, having a chance to play at home, you know. But I'm happy for them. I mean, obviously, is that the thing that drove them? No, I can't say that is. I'm not saying that's a little bit of motivation for everybody. You know, the uniqueness of what our league does of the, you know, the host team or the team that's highest ranked or the team that's first in the league. We're both first in the league. Both of us are undefeated in the league. But with that being said, I think that's another motivation for those guys, but I don't know that that's what completely drives them. I think, you know, continue to play each and every week. It's just, we're very fortunate to have another opportunity for these guys that have meant so much to this program and done so much, to have a chance to play their, you know, another game in Nippert Stadium.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. We'll go to Justin Williams from The Athletic, please.
Coach, you haven't played Houston this year. You know, a couple years ago, you had that weird play in Memphis back-to-back. But I'm curious, what is your personal preference? Would you rather play a team in the championship game you haven't seen before? And what do you feel like the benefits and disadvantages might be to that?
I don't know what the advantages and disadvantages are. I think it was obviously 2 years ago, it was really unique to play Memphis back-to-back. I don't know that that's always, I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know that it happens too often.
Okay.
It could have happened again last year. But whether it's better to not play them, I think we're very fortunate as a league and as a whole to have 2 teams that have played so good all year. You know, to have a team that's 11-1, you know, have won 11 straight games, and you've seen the maturity and you've seen the ability for them to grow, and another team that's, you know, 12-0 and 2 undefeated in the league teams to play in your championship game. I don't know if you could get any better than that. So I think it's all for all of us. I don't know what's better, to have played each other, not have played each other. The reality is this will be the first time we'll play each other this year, and it's going to be a great matchup.
Okay, we'll go to the next one from Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle, please.
Luke, the $1 million question this year for a lot of the American coaches has been the dilemma on what to do with Marcus Jones, Houston's return guy. I was wondering just what you've seen from him on tape and his ability to change things in the return game.
No, he's done a phenomenal job. He is electric, and he is a problem when you're playing against him. He was fun to watch when you weren't playing against him. But I think that just shows his versatility, and he's something that you got to know where he is, and you got to be aware of it. You know, obviously if you're kicking the ball to him as to what it is that you're doing, but I've said it, I think earlier today, or even in, I don't even know what it was, another one of these press conferences of some sort, that I think the thing that's unique about Houston that makes them so good is their complementary football. You know, they're not just an offensive based team or a defensive based team. They play in all 3 phases. And, you know, a lot of times you don't maybe see that same dynamic, you know, in all teams, but their ability to play obviously really good offense, aggressive as hell defense, and their special teams is as good as anybody in the country. I know it has a lot to do with a returner like Marcus Williams, but I think the ability to put an emphasis on that is where you see them as so difficult to defend.
Thank you.
We'll take the final question from Mark Berman, please, in Houston. Mark must have stepped away. Okay, we'll go next to Eric Bailey for the final question, please.
Coach, congratulations on your team's success this year. I got an easy question and a tough question for you. First, I want to know if you can just talk about Desmond Ridder and just how unusual is it for a quarterback with an unbeaten record to not have as much traction in the Heisman race with the ballots going out this week? And the second part of the question is, apologize for going off the beaten path. Your name has been attached to multiple vacancies. How have you avoided that not being a distraction, and how attractive is the Oklahoma opening, not just for you, but for any coach?
Well, Desmond Ridder, you know, we try not to get into the postseason stuff. I mean, there's nothing, I'd say I dislike. I want our guys to have all the recognition that they deserve. And they will. I always try to hit them on the, look, if the team does well, I promise you, you'll get some individual recognitions. You know, you get more. And so it's hard for me, you know, we got some Senior Bowl invites 2 weeks ago, and I've held them in my office for the most part until probably now, or even at the end of last week, with some guys just maybe feeling like they needed something, you know, else. But we haven't made a big deal of it. We try not to publicize it because during the season, we try to do our best job at really trying to focus in on the team and not allowing any of those individual things to come into our locker room. We know they're out there. We know there's opportunities. Do I want Des to have everything? He deserves more than even what he gets, because to me, of what we know of him and where he's come from and what he's meant to this team and this program. So whether he's getting the traction, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad if I should be pounding the table and talking more about it. But Desmond Ridder wouldn't want that. He would want us to continue to focus on the team and what it is that we need to do. And so I hope he gets everything he deserves. Whatever he gets, I can tell you for our program, he means more. And whatever he does get, I can tell you from my eyes, he deserves more. But that's just obviously knowing who he is and what he's done over a 5-year period. You know, obviously we feel even different than a lot of other people. And that's the same way with the other stuff, you know, whether it's jobs for me, whether it's jobs for our other coaches, whether it's the NFL, you know, calling or you know, talking to guys or juniors. Do you go out? Do you not go out? You know, we're fortunate to have some of those guys that are kind of on that, you know, on that brink of, you know, do they go to the NFL? Do they not go to the NFL? We had some of those guys last year. It's obviously unique after the, you know, I don't know how long we'll talk about the COVID extension, but so it's not just Des, it's not just the individual. It's not me with other things that are out there. You know, it's all of our guys. And, you know, so I'm no different than what I talk about for our team, that we don't focus and we don't talk about, you know, individual things. We make sure we keep this stuff within our family, and then with, you know, we don't talk or focus on or worry about those other things. They'll take care of themselves at some point in time. Kind of like we say with, you know, what happens beyond, you know, our championship game. You know, who knows? If we take care of business, and who knows what'll happen. But first and foremost, we got to take care of our business. And that's the way I go about things. That's the way we want our program to go about things. And it's not going to change.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Coach, that'll do it from our end. Thanks for giving us a few minutes this morning, and we look forward to joining you up in Cincinnati later this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
And again, thanks everyone for joining us. Again, sportsystems.com/theamerican for credentials applications if you've not submitted already. Thanks so much to everyone for joining us. Let us know if you should need anything in advance of the championship game. Thanks.